Across the world, women have risen to positions of prominence and power and made a positive impact on generations to come. Increased opportunity, access to education, and the growing realization that hiring women makes good business, economic, and social sense have led to more of us being incorporated into the global economy and being more financially independent than ever before. But in Africa, as in most other parts of the developing world and the global south, much still needs to be done, especially in improving our fortunes and bringing our wealth on par with our male counterparts. It has become all the more important to convene meetings and summits such as this, capturing the power of the collective. And we do this today in this room, in this beautiful corner of Africa called KwaZulu-Natal. Good morning, Durban. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome each one of you to the Forbes Women Africa Leading Women Summit, hosted by the KZN Provincial Government. Thank you so much, KZN, for hosting us, and welcome to all the delegates here. This is the fourth year of the summit and promises to be our biggest yet. I still recall our inaugural summit in 2016. It started as a germ of an idea with a small team and less than 100 women in a small ballroom in Johannesburg. And we came up with a theme, the rise of the female millennial, tied to the cover of a March issue that year titled The Millennials. This year, the summit has grown and is themed The New Wealth Creators, unpacking what money truly means in today's world. How has the definition of wealth creation itself changed, and how we, as women at the cornerstone of commerce, are in many ways the new wealth ourselves, a potential waiting to be untapped. It is important to acknowledge that the dialogue of equality and progress cannot happen without engaging the few certified good men to be on our side. I have always been a proponent of the fact that every human being, man and woman, needs to be mobilized for an inclusive world. And I'm happy to say that the person who birthed the idea of Forbes Women Africa was not a woman, but a man, Mr. Rakesh Wahi, a great advocate of gender equality and a man who actually walks the talk. I would like to take the opportunity here to welcome Mr. Rakesh Wahi, the Vice Chairman of the Avian Group and the founder and publisher of Forbes Africa and Forbes Women Africa. The past 5 years of this magazine have been possible because of his vision and his unstinted belief in the power of this platform to amplify the stories of phenomenal women across Africa. I would please like to request Mr. Rakesh Wahi to stand up, and a round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. And as a continuum of family values, he's joined here by his wife, Mrs. Saloni Wahi, who is an artist, philanthropist, and change maker in her own right. And also present is Mr. I don't see him, but I know Sid is here. Mr. Sid Wahi, the Avian Group's executive director, was instrumental in bringing the Forbes brand to the African continent. Also here today from the Avian Group is Roberta Naika, the group's managing director, who labored so very hard behind the scenes and was responsible for bringing the Leading Women Summit to KZN. So a round of applause again, ladies and gentlemen, to all of them. In this room today, among this august audience of leading women are politicians, CEOs, entrepreneurs, doctors, engineers, architects, attorneys, scientists, coders, AI specialists, construction moguls, artists, musicians, media influencers, marine biologists, Olympic athletes, Wimbledon players, and a very famous supermodel. The aim of this forum is as a connector. It's about networking and facilitating collaborations that can bring about more positive change. It's about connecting multiple generations, be it X, Y, or Z, the people next to you, and with each other, and seeing what this transformation, these networks can bring. In my years as the editor of Forbes Women Africa, I've had the immense fortune of meeting and profiling some incredible people. One of them is our honorary Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. And among them, presidents, first ladies, cultural icons, business tycoons, but most of them, colossal female powerhouses on the African continent. They know what it's like to push boundaries, excelling in their professions, whilst also raising families, holding back turmoil and tears, and holding themselves together with nothing but grit and determination. Brick by brick, setback after setback, they've built strong foundations for other women to emulate and follow. They broke rules. They broke barriers in rising to the top in corporate Africa and in the corridors of power. But, my heart goes out to the women I have not met, and I will never know. The women who work hard in places we've never seen, working against the odds, swimming against the tide, not having access to basic health care or life's elementary trappings in places where survival itself is a daily hardship. They carry the baggage of an unfair present on slender, sun-baked shoulders. This wonderful profession of mine has thankfully taken me on travels across the continent, documenting the growth and change we hope is possible. Often, these are also times I spend in lonely contemplation with the world I see around me. Early this week, I was in the eastern region of Uganda, far, far away from this glistening boardroom. And on one of my wanderings by the swaying sugarcane farms and banana plantations of rural Uganda, I came across this young, sweet-natured girl named Charity, in her late teens. She was selling grilled meat by a gutter on the side of a squalid road in Jinja, which, as you know, is the source of the Nile. A baby strapped onto her back, she could barely sit upright. And as the evening progressed, in the dim light of her kerosene lamp, she sold food, bravely staving off the lustful stares of men and collecting enough shillings to last another day, never once shedding a tear or losing hope that tomorrow will be a better day. For this fabulous, illustrious summit only days away, and very much on my mind, there, as the sun dipped in a little part of Uganda, there were two conflicting worlds confronting me. How can these worlds merge to realize the dreams of these young women selling their soul by the side of a road in rural Africa? How can we in this room make sure that these young girls have role models they can all look up to, and that they can enjoy the physical and creative freedom that we in this room take so for granted? Leading women, I urge you that may the conversations of this summit today be loud enough for the women across Africa to hear. May these conversations inspire the unheard, unsung woman that we at Forbes Women Africa have always written about and have consistently won awards for over the last 5 years. For we are journalists, but more importantly, we are storytellers with an insatiable appetite to relate fascinating tales of resilience and enduring, uplifting examples of Afro-optimism. Let's today garner the courage to tell our stories, and in doing that, change the African narrative. We have in this room some magnificent men, and magnificent women actually, and a few magnificent men. Let's work together to galvanize action and usher in an equal world. Let this summit inspire you to ponder and stoke the recesses of your imagination, for this may well be the beginning of all that is to come. For those using this podium today and for those in the audience using this as a platform, let this be a day of shared values and common commitment. In the words of the 20th century modernist author Virginia Woolf, who I really, really admire, quote, "There's no gate, no lock, no bolt that you can set upon the freedom of my mind," unquote. Let's together open the doors to conversations and creative collaborations. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2019 Leading Women Summit. Thank you.